Hey, what's up and welcome to TypeAware. This is the 10th lesson of Illustrator tutorial. Today we will learn about very interesting tools, which is Scale tool, Shear tool, and Reshape tool. In the last we will create a corridor type long way. So let's get started. First let's create a square. Now this is Scale tool. Hold click and you will see Shear tool and Reshape tool. In the end of tools there's a small button type shape. Click on it and you will get this small tool panel. Pick Scale tool. If you click on any corner of the shape and try to resize, it will work like a normal resizing would do.
Hold Shift key and it will maintain the proportion of one side. But there is nothing special about it. Pick Selection tool and while holding Alt key 1 can resize it vertically or horizontally. Hold on it as much special use cases. If we pick up Direct Selection tool and select these 2 points, now pick Scale tool. As you resize it you can see its perspective getting different. Similarly, pick Direct Selection tool again and select below points. And when it's scaled, see how its viewpoint getting changed. You may already familiar with this crosshair or reticle type icon. It's a center point of the shape. We have learned about this in Rotate tool video. So if we select 2 points and change the center point to the left, now, if it's resized it with help of Scale tool, only right side will be resizing. You can change the perspective of multiple shapes at once. Let's create a square and duplicate it multiple times. If I hold Ctrl while I have Scale tool it will bring me Selection tool at first. But when I pick Direct Selection tool and select these shapes then pick Scale tool. Now, when I hold Ctrl it will bring me Direct Selection tool for the rest of my work with these shapes. Now using Direct Selection tool select these points. Use Scale tool to make it bigger like this. Select upper points. And contract them. Here you have your first creative design. Let's change the center point around here. This time contract these 2 points. See how creative shapes can be built. Now, it depends on you. How creative shall you use it? Let's delete these. One more thing about Scale tool. Create a circle with Ellipse tool. Now if you want to adjust this curve equally on both sides, there are 2 ways to do this. Either you have to remove this curve using Anchor Point tool, then add new curve and adjust it. Or you can use just Scale tool to adjust it on both sides equally. Okay. Let's create a square. Now what is Shear tool? For example, if I pick this Direct Selection tool and select these 2 points, make it tilt like this is called shear. Obviously, there should be something which can only be done by this tool. Let me create multiple copies of this square. Now, if I want to tilt these shapes all at once, here Shear tool comes handy. Select all shapes. Then just move it with help of Shear tool. You can tilt all at once. So, there is no more about Shear tool, it has this only one use that I know of as of today. So, let's move on and find what Reshape tool have to offer. Let's create a circle. What if I want to add curve over here? I will pick up Pen tool and click on the path. Then pick Direct Selection tool and adjust this point. This work can be done with help of Reshape tool. Select the path with Direct Selection. Keep in mind don't select whole shape, only select the path where you want curve. Pick Reshape tool and move it. See it has added an anchor point and a curve at once. I can also adjust circles on anchor points. Select with Direct Selection tool and adjust it like this. Now you don't need to pick up Direct Selection tool again, just click and drag from wherever you want. Alright. Now we will create an interesting corridor type structure with help of Scale tool. Create a rectangle like this, remove stroke, and make a copy of it. Resize the duplicated one and give it white color. Move it to the center of first rectangle. Duplicate it 3 times. Group these 3 rectangles and align it horizontally and vertically to center. Then group it again with shortcut Ctrl-G. Add new rectangle right above the first one and align it perfectly in width with first one. Then hold Alt key and resize. It will resize from both sides equally. Similarly, make copy of this rectangle and resize it while holding Alt key. Place this second rectangle below all these shapes. Select all shapes and group it again. In previous lesson we learned how to create your own workspace. Here we have our gradient workspace, we can use it anytime. But let's create gradient panel again so you would understand if you haven't watched our previous video. We will need this color tab, swatches tab, and this gradient tab. Attach them all together to form one panel. Place them on side. Now choose color from swatches, then place it on the gradient panel. Remove this black color. Duplicate this white color by holding Alt key. I want to darken these colors a little bit. Select this slider and double-click, it's grayscale. Just go to Color Panel. Change the color mode to HSB. Then click this icon and click on Show Options. From here, adjust the brightness slide to darken or lighten the color. Select this gradient slide and make it little darken. Remove this left gradient slide and copy this slider one. Now, hold Alt and Shift to duplicate and align perfectly. Adjust it as you pleased with. Select these pillars, pick Scale tool, and adjust the size. While holding mouse left button, press Alt to duplicate the shapes, and if Shift key is pressed 2 will maintain the perspective. Press Ctrl-D multiple times to create this corridor type structure. Press Ctrl-Z to undo. If I move the center point to the top, and adjust the size from the bottom with pressing Alt and Shift key, we'll create a pattern like I'm seeing it from the roof. Now, there's one problem. If you see over here the pillars are overlapping. Don't worry, here's a solution. First make these pillars smaller while holding Shift key. Then scale it up while holding Shift and Alt key. Now just press Ctrl-D. See, all these are now behind the first one. Let's delete these pillars. Similarly, if I move center point to the bottom of the shape, using Scale tool holding Shift Alt and right click and duplicate multiple times will give me the view as if we're seeing it from the ground. Okay, enough understanding. Let's delete these pillars and move center point back to center. Hold Alt-Shift and scale it down to make a copy. Then use Ctrl-D to duplicate it multiple times. Now zoom into the last shape and create a shape using Rectangle tool. Change the color from gradient so you can clearly notice what's happening. Then adjust the height of the shape. Now pick Direct Selection tool and select these top points of the shape. Scale it like this. Right-click while roof shape is selected and under Arrange, click on Send to Back. Now select all and adjust the size. Right-click on the roof shape and reflect it horizontally and click on Copy. Adjust it for the floor. Zoom in to notice if it is perfectly aligned. While floor shape is selected, pick a drop tool and click on any pillar. It will copy gradient from that pillar. Adjust it as per your requirements. I'm going to darken it. Always use HSB for changing tones as it is very easy to work with. Hold Ctrl, click on the roof, then with that drop tool copy color from the ground. Now I'm going to change floor color back. Now we need red carpet over here. Select the shape and make a copy using Scale tool with pressing Alt and Shift. But let's do it in another way. Hold Alt and Shift to copy the shape and move it somewhere. Change the shape color and send it back to its original place. Now adjust the size using Scale tool. You have to use Shift key to avoid perspective change. That's it. Hope you liked the video. Consider to subscribe to the channel.